Today we're just going to do a little bit of randomness, and I'm going to show you how I update my set in general. I'm going to update my artwork and try to make it lossless so it's a smaller size. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just right click and select all. Then I'm going to exit and reopen Hackshi, just so I get a good read on how much I'm really taking up for the set. I have Pingu open, which is a good program to losslessly reduce your art. So I have that open. I'll put the same directory, overwrite pings. I'm going to add files. And when I'm in the directory of my games folder, I'm searching for pings. And I'm just going to let this search for a minute or two so it finds them all. You'll see it'll keep moving by itself as it's finding more. But generally you want to wait a few minutes so it finds them all. And then you could select them all and add them and let the program run its course. I'm not going to do all of them right now. I'm just going to do the ones that have been changed most recently. And I did a right click and put date modified. So I'm going to add these ones particularly. We'll add some of these for now. Now that these are added, I'm going to go to color settings. And I'm going to make sure it's at 128 with dither enabled. And I'm just going to let it run its course. And the trick to do is have it at the way bottom. That way you know when it's officially done. So I have it at 128, clicking OK, clicking go. And I'm going to let that run its course right now. Now then, I'm updating my arcade set right now, and I'm trying to be very organized with doing this. I have a little check sheet here for each year I'm working with, and I started with 1975 and gonna go around to 1995. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go much farther than that. But anyways, I have the MAME emulator. I have all the games loaded into it, and I have it going by year right now. So if I go to 1975, for instance, we see that Gunfight is the only game that came out that year. And I checked that off the sheet when I was done. But I'm going to go to a year that I really did not work on as much yet. I'm going to go with 1990. And we start with 1941. If you see the format here, the ones that are on the way left are pretty much the parent ROMs. In some cases, you don't want to use the parent ROMs because they'll be broken, such as Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Choplifter, etc. But as you go down, you get like a green means it's pretty good to go. Red is something that's just not going to work. So we're looking at Alien Storm, for instance, here. The main ROM does not work. And I could test these out right here. This game does not work properly. There are working clones of this game. So I'm going to exit. There's a two-player version which also does not work. Then we have the bootleg. Now I want to add the bootleg, so I'm just going to right-click, go to Properties. So I'm looking at the name of the bootleg here, and I'm going to go into my Hackshi. Go to Add Games, and I'm going to type in the ROM name. So we have Alien Storm bootleg. Going to add that. Import as archive. I'm going to add the preface I normally do, arcade. It'd be Alien Storm. Putting the year on it, which is 1990. Then I'm going to change the command line to MAME 2003. So pretty much I'm going through each year this way, just painstakingly making sure everything's accurate and everything works within reason. I mean, obviously, we have games like Tapper that do not work, and I'll give you an example of how that works. I'm going to available, I'm going to go to custom filters, type in Tapper, click OK. I'm going to properties, see right here where it says source, MCR3. So I'm going to go to the source for that actually, and see which games run under that source. So we're going to source. And we have Disc of Tron, Rampage, Spy Hunter, Tapper, Timber, and that's pretty much sums up games that do not run properly within MAME 2003, but these work under MAME 2000 and MAME 2010. Then we have the MCR2, which includes games like Journey, which is another one that does not work under MAME 2003, as well as Tron. So these games are all going to be kept separate, and I'm going to pretty much have the command line to MAME 2000 or MAME 2010. MAME 2010 is a bigger core to run, but the games run more accurately, and especially games like Spy Hunter and Tron. Now then, you pretty much see generally how I'm doing my arcade setup, and I plan on going through all the years and going through everything I can, and I'm not going to go crazy on adding every Mayhem game, if that's how it's pronounced, and play Choice 10 games. They're almost pointless too, but the Verse games, there's enough differences in the Verse games, like even Verse Super Mario Brothers and Verse Duck Hunt, to make them worthwhile and have it in a set. Now we're going to see where Pingu is at right now. Everything's done. Since I hit at the bottom, I see that it's done, and you could save a ton of space using this program. Even from a standard set, you could save 20 to 60 megabytes, if not more. But I generally do this every once in a while once I hit up art, and it works awesome. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you before I quit the video is a little brief rundown of how my set is right now. I recently did the entire Sega CD set. I'm going to do a brief rundown of that right now. It's a lot of games to work with. And there's going to be a tree, which everything can be highly organized in 2.18, most likely, for Hakshi. But the general setup of my Sega CD set right now, I did everything I could to rip unnecessary audio out of games, and I put the size of these in there. And games that are FMV based, like Dragon's Lair, I obviously did not do as much with. I did what I could. So I ripped the unnecessary audio out, I compressed the games, and I put exactly what the sizes are on all of them. So if I'm doing a quick rundown here, you could get a brief look, and I have 3D art that's all losslessly reduced. You can see the file names, the sizes, and there's a few that are a little bit over 300 megabytes. You're going to want to have mainly the RetroArch, HMod, and Pico drive installed, and limit how much else you have installed on top of that. But as you see, a majority of the Sega CD games are going to run absolutely fine as is. And I mean, they're anywhere from 1 megabyte, which is the Flink game, to Ground Zero Texas Disc 1, which is 289 megabytes. And I did every one that I could. Ones that are obviously like over 330 megabytes are going to be really pushing it. But I have some that are fairly close to that I tested fine. And just like PlayStation 1, these Sega CD games run magnificently on the Mini NES. It is pretty much 3DO and Sega Saturn, which run slow and are more of a novelty. But this is well over 100 games here, ripped, all at a size that could work on the Mini NES. I mean, Sonic CD 41.4 megabytes. If I left it with music, it'd be pretty much over 100 megabytes. Snatcher 54.2 megabytes, and it'd be really, really big if I kept the music in. Now, some of these games where the music would play along with the videos, there'll be a little bit of scratchy noise for that part. Just be prepared to turn your volume down for that part, but the majority of these have the audio intact. I pretty much removed audio that could be removed and audio that would break the game I left in. There's quite a few on here to play, I mean. And you could actually go back to the days before Google existed, and you could have Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia and look up all kinds of stuff on there. I mean, if you really felt like doing that. But anyways, it's a big set, really fun to play. hope you enjoyed the video, and there'll be more videos soon. I'll be specifically doing a 3DO and a Commodore 64 video in my next videos.